What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Coach Ken from Give It a Try. Another episode tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about the biggest tips for new runners and endurance athletes. I recently did a video with Coach Ryan, which you might have heard, and we dipped into the world of ultra running. I've had a few people ask in my circle of people that I train with and coach about ultras and tips and tricks on how to get into that world. But this is really for those that are out there that listen to my journey over the first few episodes, are kind of curious about maybe stepping into the world of endurance, or maybe trying to progress from being more of a beginner and some of the smaller distances and progressing through that. And now that I've done it for quite a few years, thinking back and when I was talking about my journey, it's something I wanted to bring up and talk about is a lot of the tips and things that I feel are very important. And these aren't necessarily training tips on how to be a better runner or endurance athlete, but the other things and the mental aspect of it. And that's another reason why I put out weekly videos for my coached athletes is I can give them a calendar's worth of workouts to do and metrics to hit. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to is mindset and the ability to get all that done in a healthy and sustainable way, not just physically, but mentally. We want this to be fun. We want this to be something that you can be proud of working towards is these goals. And I think that's really the first step in all this is to commit to something. You have to commit to your goal and you have to put it out there. I can understand there may be a confidence issue or something like that, but you really need to commit, because when you put things out there, from what I've learned in this journey of endurance, is when you put a goal out there visually for everybody to see and you talk about it, yeah, there's some resistance sometimes, believe it or not, some people in your inner circle may be resistant to what you're doing or they for many different reasons, which I don't even want to really get into. But you'll start to realize, though, by putting it out there in the world, you'll start to attract things that will help you get to that part of your journey and that process that you're trying to get to. People will start to gravitate towards you. It's this thing of when you put something out there in the world, it just starts to attract the things that will help you get there. You could do this in silence. You could be doing all the work behind closed doors, nobody knowing you trained for that race or that you started running or doing something, anything of that substance. But by putting it out there, you're committing. And something that really helped for me, especially if you've been running for a while and maybe you just want to start really establishing some goals in the space of endurance, is a vision board. And you may have looked back and seen in some of my past videos, my Ironman vlogs, that I'm very big on a vision board. I have one downstairs in the gym, and I've done it every year, probably for the last several years. And what that is just I try and think ahead of time of what I want to do and what I want to accomplish for the year. Certain goals, whether that's a PR or just checking a box at a distance or just going to this certain race, having fun and being with friends, is to just get a little board somewhere where you work out or somewhere where you have your gear at home. And so you can visually see it and check in from time to time. Put the year on there. I like to do this in December the year before, but you can do it for this year. You can jump off and get that started. Put the year on there. Put 2025. Put 2025 goals. I like to print out usually a printout below it with the month and a line that kind of what I want to accomplish that month. And now that doesn't mean there's going to be something every month, because I may have a 2-month window that's open because I'm really prepping for this one event. Say, for instance, in August, and I may not have anything in July and June really lined up for it. That's big because I have to commit to training blocks. You can even write into that training for whatever race it is in August. And I like to print out a picture of something with that race, or if it's checking that box for your first 13.1, print out the logo to 13.1 and put it on the board as well. It lets you know there's a roadmap, there's a pathway. You're putting it out there in the universe, and the bigger the challenge or the more audacious that goal is for like a PR, you could definitely have some a little bit of that training anxiety for it and second guessing. But by manifesting what you're about to do or embark on, and that's why I love the endurance journey, is it's not an instant thing. It's not something you sign up for next week and you just go do it. If this is a new distance you haven't done, you have to come up with a game plan and a roadmap from where you are now to where you need to be. So put it out there in the world, create some type of vision, and you got to just start preparing the body. You have to do the activity. You have to prepare the body. So let's say you're looking to run that first 13.1 and you've mapped it out and you have it on there and you have your vision board of what you want to do and some shorter races leading up to it. And that's your big focus, your big A race. I like to focus on what's my A race is the big goal for the year. And then typically you'll have some B and C races built around that, which are maybe a prep race leading into that or something that is on the way to that A race or that A goal. And you just have to start to do the activity, prepare the body. If it's going for that run, you need to get out there and start doing it. If you're a totally new beginner, start all the way at the beginning. Take a few steps back, especially if you've taken a little bit of time off. I have plenty of athletes that train very hard throughout the year, and they kind of falter with the consistency in the off season. That's fine. We don't like to jump back into where we were. We want to slowly build back in to where we need to be as a good starting point to continue on for the year. That's why I always talk about consistency, and the best and easiest way to progress through endurance sports is to be able to keep with the progression and the consistency all year, as many months out of the year as you can, so that you can keep progressing forward. You're not taking one step forward, two steps backwards at the end of the year, and then just keep playing catch up as you keep going on. And when we start to really look at the goal, we really have to focus on what works. There's plenty of training plans out there. There's plenty of influencers, plenty of accounts you can follow. There's plenty of things that you could look up that will tell you what you need to do. This mentality of grinding hard every day, this working overtime, working through the night. These are, some of the quotes that you'll hear all the time about just the way people look at work in general in life. And this work could also be focusing on endurance sports, is we need to unlearn this methodology of this collegiate athlete system, which was hard all the time. Especially if you were a collegiate athlete in the past, and now you want to get back into it later on in your adult life, that may be all the training is hard. But the difference is when you look at, say, a college athlete and their training structure is they're in this system for only a short period of time, a 2 to 4 year window of getting performance out of this person. So they're going to wring this person out like a sponge to get everything out of them, because they need results. They need to be results driven. They gave you possibly a scholarship to go to this school. That's across any sports. So that's kind of the only philosophy that we may know up to this point when we want to start getting into endurance sports or really honing in on our training. And we really need to remember, especially as an adult athlete, especially as a master's athlete, if you're in the master's age category, 40 plus, 50 plus, is endurance is a journey. And the less of the background that you have on it, the longer this journey really needs to be. I've seen phenomenal athletes that I've coached in endurance that have had some type of collegiate background. They may have been out of any sport for 5, 10, 15 years. And when they get back into it, they pick it up pretty quickly and can progress. But that's not always the norm. The typical person doesn't have this collegiate sports background, and they're only really starting to want to do this at a 30, 35 or later in life. I've had people in their 50s and 60s want to start doing it or go do their first Ironman, and that's phenomenal. But just understand that the journey looks a whole lot different than somebody who's coming out of being 18 years old and has a 4-year window of collegiate sports that they're going to be able to perform in, and the type of work, the difference that goes into that. So self-assess your starting point. You really need to write some things down, create a notebook of your journey, and create your own story of what it is. It's always good to just be inspired by other people in the endurance space. And that's awesome. You start running, or you find out some other people run and you start linking them up. I follow you on Strava, and you pop them on. And then you start looking back, you can see their weekly mileage. You can see what paces they're running, and you start to kind of be like, and you're starting to just start judging yourself and comparing yourself with these things. And it's a slippery slope to go down, because any respectable person in the endurance space, especially, the majority of the people that I've met, are all super welcoming in the fact of bringing somebody in that's newer to this and helping them and guiding them along the way. You just have to realize that talk to the people too. Find out what their journey was. Find out how long they got into this. Just like Coach Ryan when he was on, you may see him at a run, look him up on Strava, link up with him, like, wow, look at the miles this guy does, and then think that you need to just start doing what he's doing. Like, his journey progressed into that over a period of time. It wasn't just something that happened overnight. This is that baking the cake approach that I talk about, or painting the picture. Is we need to put the big brush strokes or the big ingredients, that foundational stuff, into it first. Big blocks, like really zoom out with this endurance stuff and really focus on the best bang for your buck that you're going to get. And that's, again, if you're doing this, especially even just for a healthy, something to do, and just you want to get healthy, make sure the other aspects of your life are healthy as well. If you're still going out drinking on the weekends and you think that running is going to make you healthy, you're not going to outrun a shitty diet. You're not going to outrun crappy sleep. You're not going to be able to, well, stress is my running is my de-stressor in life. No, it's not. It's an escape, actually, from the stress in your life. Okay, you may feel great for that hour and a half, but when you show up to work in the morning, you show back home to your family, if those are the things that are stressing you out, you still got the stress there. You may just handle a little bit better for a short period of time in that near-term future, because you feel good, you have the endorphins and going, but you have to balance that. You have to do that external work as well. And I only say all this because I've had to do it all. I was a very stressed person, tense person, leading into this endurance journey. It has changed my life in so many ways. It has changed my outlook on things. It has changed my process on how I deal with other problems in life, because how many times I've set a goal, you've heard of my journey, from start to finish with a roadmap, and have checked every box on the way there, or most of those boxes, to have a successful end result. So now when problems arise or things happen or curveballs get thrown, just like they do in training, you're just used to solving problems. You're just used to pivoting and going in the direction you need to go, because you want a result. You want to get to that goal. So it's going to make you more resilient in other parts of your life. And that's another incredible reason why I just love the endurance sports journey. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. And then as far as training goes, you learned my mistakes. You learned the mistakes of Coach Ryan when he was on. And that was just if you want to enjoy this, just start out slow. You got to just do the activity. Be super easy. Be humble about it. You're just going to have tons of good growth and good results early on. And this could just be swimming, cycling, running, multi-sport, whatever it is. The bulk of it, just enjoy. Just put one foot in front of the other. I posted on Strava the other day, the title of my run was just left, right, left, right. Like, that was just the day. That was what I needed to accomplish that morning, was just one foot in front of the other for an hour, nice and easy, check the box. That's what my training needed to be for the day. So really understand what it is that you have to get done. Check the boxes, don't overdo it. And you may say, no, I'm going to go hard because I just want to expedite this journey. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't work. It's maybe some other aspects of your life, business, things like that. The more you work, the more you make. That doesn't happen in endurance. And that's another reason why it's kind of humbling, is there's only a certain amount you can charge on that credit card every day before your balance is full, or weekly or monthly in the endurance world. It's just same thing for a race. You're putting hay in the barn, right? We always say it, that, the hay's in the barn on the last big run, or your last big brick of an Ironman, and that's it. Like, I did everything I could. The hay's in the barn. And then we burn it all down on race day. But we have to fill the barn up properly at the right time. We can't fill it up 2 weeks before, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks before, and burn it all down before race day. So you have to really be smart with your training. Just remember, as you're being influenced or inspired, I should say, if you're being inspired by people, that's great. Just don't be influenced by people. Talk to them, learn from them. You could probably learn more from somebody in endurance sports by the mistakes they've made than by what they're doing now. Chances are they're doing the right things now because of the mistakes they made. And that's why I felt it was important to tell my journey. It wasn't just all sunshine, glitter, and rainbows crossing these finish lines. There was some things that needed to be corrected along the way, some things that I learned. I'm still following back and reassessing on some of these things as time goes on, because you start to lose focus on the bigger picture on things. And then I go back and then I revisit those and continue forward. So keep going forward. If you're really new to endurance, the biggest things that can help you right away without needing to hire a coach or anything like that, or following somebody online and thinking that, oh, this 8-week plan will get you fit and ready to go from nothing to half marathon, is start doing what you need to do. I love the 80-20 method. It's not a rule. It's a way of training. It's a way to structure your training. This 80-20 philosophy does not need to be, and I'm probably going to do a whole podcast on it at some point on how it helped me and the whole theory behind it. Is 80% of your training, your volume needs to be done at an easy, moderate pace, something that you can sustain basically all day. Very easy pace, low heart rates, doing the things in your body that need to be done. The heart needs to get stronger. There's adaptations that need to be had. You can't just go hard, go running. Your body's not used to that, especially if you're doing this. For me, I started at 35 years old. Yeah, okay, I was healthy. I had some bouts of activity at certain points, but for a decent period of time, cardio-wise, I didn't do anything. So for me to just go out and start smashing my body, like you're putting an awful lot of stress on your body. The heart needs to adapt. The heart needs to grow. It needs to get stronger. Your mitochondria, the density needs to be increased. Your blood volume. There's so many things that go on with, running easy, getting a big base of training that need to be done before you progress in this journey. And for every person, it could be a little different depending on how long that needs to be. There's ways we can test and evaluate and collect data along the way. But if you're really starting out, there's a few methods, tried and true, that will work. That 80-20 method will work. And you probably are going to start higher than that at the beginning. It may be 100-0, 100% all easy for a little while. Then you start building a little in, 95-5, 90-10. 85-15, and then get to where that nice number is, that 80-20. It's not a hard number. It's just a range that works. And then the other part is you have to define what intensity is. Intensity is, so volume, we need to do the activity. But that intensity is, we have to do it at the right intensity. And to start, it needs to be pretty easy. One way you can do that is the Maffetone method, and that's going to be 180 minus your age on easy runs. So if I wanted to do that for myself right now, the theory behind that would be 180, I'm 40, minus 40. I shouldn't really be at more than 140 beats per minute on my easy runs. And guess what? I'm here to tell you that that is the case. I still run my easy runs. And if that means I'm running at 850, a 910, a 915 pace, whatever it is for myself right now, it is what it is. Some days a little higher, some days a little lower, depends on many other factors. But I know if my heart rate's in this area, I'm getting the benefit that I need. I'm getting that left, right, getting my base mileage done, getting that 80% done, making the adaptations I need in the body, increasing the volume if I'm going towards a marathon or a 50K, or increasing. I need to build volume at that level. And then we just need to build in layers after that. We build in the steps, but you need to self-assess upon this. Like I would say, I would rather take an athlete who is doing all zone 1, zone 2 work almost 100% of the time and has spot on sleep, spot on nutrition, spot on stress, balance in their life, does their strength training, just hydrating, fueling properly, and doing all those big blocks I always talk about. They're probably going to have a better chance at longevity and progress than somebody who is trying to bend that 80-20 rule, kind of, again, working overtime, working through the night type philosophy of I'm going to push a little bit, I'm going to expedite this process, and they have shitty sleep, they're stressed all the time, they're not eating right, they don't fuel their workouts. I would rather take that first athlete. I would rather they're going to enjoy this so much more. They will progress and eventually pass that other person, because that person may progress a little bit quicker. They might in the short term, but at what point is the body going to say no, where I'm not going to sustain this activity, I'm not going to sustain what you're doing, and then they're going to halt it. They're not going to have a choice. Their body will. Talk to many athletes, it's the case. And But that other person is just going to keep going. They're just going to have plenty of fun with it through all the distances, the 5K, the 10K, half marathon, marathon. So that's what we need to do is just, again, self-assess and then add layers in. So again, once that other athlete, that A athlete, once they start, if they have all that done and they're doing all that base work, then they start adding those layers on that cake. They start adding those fine details on the painting, on the canvas, and they're going to start to progress and take off rapidly in the sport at that point because they've done everything they need to do at the lower level. And then we could start researching some things that might work for them. So other types of training philosophies or ways to tweak their training based off of themselves and the individuality of how well they absorb the training and things like that. So assess. Just again, you got to measure things. You have to be wary of what the intensity is within this volume. You don't want to push too hard, and you want to have this sustainability in it. Now, at this point, do I need a coach in endurance sports? I'm a coach, so I will never tell you that you don't need a coach, but I'm not going to tell you that you need a coach. I'm when I coach my athletes, I like to take them under my wing, find out where they are in their journey, where they're at in this step list, basically, that I just spoke about, and then start guiding them to where they need to be, getting them up to a certain point. They should become up to that A athlete I was talking about, that doing all the base stuff. We're working on the big blocks. I keep reminding them about that, making sure, checking in that they're doing it all. Once I see that they're doing all of that and they have that base going, is when we can really start to have fun. It's that subjective and objective. I can see a lot of work coming in. I don't know what's going on the other side of things, unless you're really hounding this athlete down every single day and telling me, how'd your work day go? How'd your family day go? What'd you eat? I need a whole list. I need you exactly how you slept, how many hours, quality. It's just a lot. So you have to ingrain these big block philosophies. And then I would like to know from them if there is a gap in one of those big blocks so we can really work on it. If it is just sleep, they just can't figure out a way to get a certain amount of sleep, we're going to work on that. If it's stress management, although I can only help so much in that area, I can give you the tips and tricks on how I've been able to handle it on my end. Motivation wise, it lacks a little bit sometimes. I actually want to do a deep dive one day on where I get all my motivation from. I have discipline, I have consistency. The motivation is what drives all of that. I have to circle back sometimes. I surround myself and block certain things out of my life so that I can stay motivated. I can stay on path. I can stay, center line on the street that I'm going down towards my goals. So for a coach, would I tell somebody that I just met somewhere out training or a race that, oh, you should talk to a coach? There's plenty of information out there. I'd like to be able to feed people information. That's why I do all this. That's why I'm here trying to help as many people as I can, because there's a lot you can get out of endurance if you start finding and following a lot of what I'm saying and how it helped myself, and get to a very good point. Now, there will become a point when it may become overwhelming. You have to make a decision in life where, do I want to keep diving all in on this, just learning, playing with things, or do I not want to chance wasting a season or seasons by trying to figure all this out myself? I maybe progressed to a certain point where I feel I have to invest too much time into learning what I need to do now. That's when a coach would be another time to be valuable to contact, because that person then can find out exactly where you are, find exactly where your goals are, where they need to go, and then paint that picture for you. And you just have to follow the journey. You'll learn a lot along the way too. Is you'll learn things that you may have learned on your own, but they may have taken a little longer. Same thing as somebody who's just starting out. You can get a lot of this knowledge or try and figure it out what works over a couple seasons. But if you do talk to somebody or get in touch with a coach ahead of time, it may expedite you to where you want to go because you're not going to have so many setbacks, because they're going to build the approach that you need to do. It's not just a bunch of stuff you found online and you just try it out, or you've seen what your friends are doing, or they've been training for a few years, so you're just jumping in on their runs, but you just started and it's a little too much. You have to run your own race. You have to be on your own journey. There will be some overlap with other people, so trust me, you'll have plenty of fun out there. You'll have plenty of good miles, plenty of smiles, and you'll get to your destination. Either way, it just depends how efficiently you want to get there without many hiccups and step backs. And it's all about just not overcooking the turkey. I know people that train very, very hard, and they sometimes fall out of the sport because they went too hard. They may have had a great result. They may have had a result they never thought they'd be able to even hit, but now the sustainability is there because they're done with it. It was overwhelming. It was too much, and they didn't enjoy the process getting there. So don't overcook the turkey. You just got to remember, as well, through the whole process, leaving the ego at the door is the biggest thing. I've met so many humble people in endurance. Inevitably, just like any profession or any place you visit in life, there's going to be people that are just a little full of themselves. And even if it's rightfully so or not, based on their accomplishments, we're all in this together. Anytime you're out there on the street, anytime you're at the track, the other morning, I had a track workout early in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. And I see the same person, older gentleman there every morning. He's doing his circles, power walking, and he was getting a little jog in on every straightaway the other day. It was good to see. It looks like he's actually progressing. I don't know him. I've never seen anything to him, but he was the only one there with me. We pulled in at the same time in the morning. We said hello, and we wound up walking out at the same time. And it was just humbling. Wave at each other, have a nice day, nod at each other, and move on with our lives. But there's that connection there. Even though I'm doing this track workout of, I think it was 2-minute intervals, 3-minute intervals, and then some max effort sprints to finish up. And he's probably looking at me like, this guy's crazy. But, we connect because we're both up at 5:30 in the morning. We're both out there. It was cold out. It was miserable out. Nobody wants to be up at that time, but he's on a journey. I'm on a journey. I understand that, and I'm happy to share the track with him. I hope he's there every week, and I hope he keeps coming back. So don't worry what other people are doing. This whole Strava thing, I look at myself as one of the things that's helped me out now is I've become more of a creator than a consumer. So I don't often see what goes on some people's pages or on Instagram or Facebook or Strava and scroll it, not really checking up or just scrolling and liking everybody's stuff all day. It doesn't mean I'm not inspired by you, but I'm trying to create. I'm trying to use the hours in the day I can to help people to better my training, my coaching, my mindset, my business, my family, my career, my job, being a father. That consumes a lot of my day. So that's my consumption, is time in order to create. So run your journey, just be inspired by everybody, enjoy each run, revel in the fact that you're doing this. When it gets hard or you're a couple years in, you don't think you see progress, zoom out, look back at your beginning. Like talking about through these first 2 episodes, when I was discussing my journey, has completely shifted my mindset for this year and this training block. I am just so ecstatic to even be able to put on a pair of shoes in the morning, put on some cycling shoes and get on a bike and be able to just keep training and keep moving my body and keep showing up and keep going on these group runs and group rides. And hell, if I never get faster and never PR another race, but I can sustainably keep doing this and showing up on the weekends with people, that's my win right now. That I am 100% cool with that, especially if I get to help other people by coaching them and guiding them, assisting them. And at some point, maybe one day I may not be able to run anymore, but I want to enjoy it now. I want to enjoy every mile that I can get in there. Like if you're listening to this even now, you have some connection with endurance, or you may be being inspired, you just know me and you want to maybe try it one day. You want to try and get into this world. But for those that are in it, those that are doing it, even if you're that guy on the track on, that early morning that's just walking in the oval, like, you're a profound human being. You're out there getting it done. And take that to heart. Take that as some motivation to continue with your discipline and your consistency and keep being successful and getting after it. The one downside to all this is you're going to lose certain people out of your life because of this journey that you're going to be on, or that you're on. And if you don't believe it, zoom out again and look back 10 years ago, if you've been doing this for 4 or 5 years. See what group of friends you were hanging out with then. See who you surrounded yourself with then. It's probably a little bit of a different crowd now. And nothing against any of the people that were at that part of your life. Life is about seasons. You need to understand that. People will be around you and support you for that season of your life, whatever that is. If now you're all in on this endurance journey, you're going to attract different people. Some really awesome people. But you may lose some people that were pretty awesome in that other season of your life as well. But if you're just a good human being and you're motivating, inspiring other people, and you're not some egotistical maniac, I'm pretty sure that those people, if you needed them, are still going to be there for you if you need it. But don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of the people you might lose, because although I don't talk to some people that I spoke to a decade ago, I have now met and am enjoying the company of some profound human beings that are out there. There is this whole other world of humans that I've met over the last 7 or 8 years that I wouldn't trade a thing to change it all, because they've changed me in more ways than I can thank them. They even got me here. I'm here because of them, because they elevated me to a level where I feel I need to give back and be able to elevate other people to this. So I hope you enjoyed today. Just some thoughts and things, that I keep jotting down between episodes, thoughts and the long form content that I'd like to get out to people. If there's any topics, any parts of my story or anybody's story, or if you know somebody I train with and you'd like to hear their story, please, by all means, shoot me a message, shoot me an email, and I'd love to hear, put more about it. Or even if you're out there and you want to tell me your story, or you can relate to any of the stuff I'm talking about and want to jump on and we'll have a conversation. I'm always open for it. I'm always open for good dialogue, good open communication, and some more motivation. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, stay healthy out there. Spring is right around the corner probably by the time you hear this. And stay safe, stay healthy, keep balancing life 1 mile at a time. I'll catch everybody on the next one.